day? Did you guys move? I mean, that move was amazing. Did you see what they did? They just went. Diego just went like this. And then when he went like that, he shook off all the defenders. And you know, when you do that, what you could do is like, you go like this, and then when you shake off the defender, you can just kick. You can kick a goal, you can pass it. Do you want to learn that move? I teach you the move. Clara! What, Mom? What's going on? The audience is waiting. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't see that you were already here. You know, I kind of like just get lost in the moment. In fact, I'm wondering, when was the last time you guys got lost in play? I mean, any kind of play. Board games, plays, games, soccer, even. When was the last time? Last week? Last month? Last year? 10 years ago? Please don't tell me that it was in your childhood. In fact, if you have not gotten lost in play in the last week, then you are taking a tremendous power away from you. How do I know? Because I allowed life, wanting to get accolades, wanting to get tenure, wanting to get promotion, wanting to be acknowledged, I allowed that to get into my way of playing. It started out gradually. You know, I was just losing my health. I was tired. I didn't want to get out of bed. I mean, I didn't want to get out of bed to go play golf. Me, the athlete, didn't want to get out of bed. And as the months and years progressed, I was getting to the point that I was becoming so serious that even my sports, I took it so seriously that I gradually was shedding off every element of play. I was experiencing what so many of our young adults, children, and maybe even you going through nowadays. That lack of life, love, and happiness. Quadruple increase in adolescent suicide. A staggering 400% increase in taking antidepressant medicines, 12 and older, 12 and older. I was in a lot of pain. And I was questioning, what the heck went wrong? Where did I go wrong? But more importantly, I was asking the question, what did I change that got me here? What changed in my life that got me here? Little did I know that in this whole process, I already had this self-preserving system starting to kick in the form of childlike play. See, I was one of those fortunate people, young kids, that my parents allowed me to play. Not only that they allowed me to play, they accepted that the only thing I wanted to do anywhere and anyway in my life is play. And it was interesting because my mom took me everywhere. She was even working on 1 or 2 jobs a day, but she would observe me, she would take me anywhere that I could play. My dad, who was a physician and a staunch disciplinarian, until this day puzzles me how he never punished me and never questioned me of the fact of my extreme lack of academic performance. I mean, let's face it, the only reason I liked to go to school was recess, PE, and of course the kitchen staff because they always gave me extra food. But I was wondering what the heck was going on with me, because my parents understood that play is extremely important. And it's in the literature everywhere. It helps you with social and cognitive development. It helps you regulate your emotions. So we knew that play was essential. But what I didn't understand is, how is it going, why did I lose that whole process, and where did I go wrong? So I was wondering, what do I need to do for me to get that back? So I was going into this idea of that social and cognitive development and so forth and so on, but I was looking into play in a much deeper perspective. I found that play, actually, the power of play goes way beyond social and cognitive development. As play was saving my life, I discovered 3 additional areas where the power of play can literally save my life and maybe even yours. The first one was versatility. See, in today's world, we don't stay in one place. We are changing all the time. You need to have skills that you can apply in a variety of different situations. You need that versatility. Until this day, people are amazed, and so am I, in regards to my versatility. It's interesting that no matter what is presented to me, somehow I overcome it, and not only just overcome it, many times I excel in it. And my friends have been asking me for years, Clara, do you always succeed in everything that you try? And of course, I was giving them these answers that, if you set the right goals, if you work hard enough, and of course, when it was stemming from my ego, well, that was before I picked up golf, I would say something like, I'm talented, I guess. But I knew that these answers were shallow. How could someone who immigrated from a little country called Hungary to America on a scholarship, barely speaking English, and not only that she gets her master's, but she also gets a scholarship to get her doctorate when she barely passed elementary school? What's up with that? There is something else behind that. So I was trying to figure that one out. See, I'm not brilliant. In today's academically centered society, when there is no play in education, I would be held back. I would be considered a failure. So I started to search. And I decided to do an IQ test. And no, don't get excited. I did not come out brilliant. Einstein still has a little thing on me. But one area lit up. I was 9 out of 10 in processing skills. And drum roll, playing in a variety of situations while you are in childhood contributes significantly to your processing skills. So, I was going with that, and I was thinking, so then our natural step would be to play and put back play into our educational system. But then I want to take that a step further. Why don't we put that back into our higher education system? I am a professor of almost 20 years now, and I don't see playing in our educational system in the higher educational level. So how are those teachers who are going to be teachers teaching our youth how to learn through play, learn how to do that when we are not teaching them that way? When our professors are mostly or only acknowledged through their publications and how much money they bring like in grants or any other form to the university, if that's the only way they are acknowledged and not through playful educational imaginative lessons, how are we going to be helping our youth to become happy and healthy? See, 55 lines of research publications on a resume does not make you an educator. Imaginative, playful, heartfelt lesson plans will. So, I was also thinking, if we go into that direction, why don't we also just teach one craft and one craft only through 4 years of education? These kids come in sometimes in areas of study where where there is a big need and increased capacity, and then when they graduate, they are expecting to get a job. And the traditional thought is that they will go through this preparation, and then when they are done, they got their degree, they're gonna get a job, and then they are going to, from there, they're going to retire. Well, that's a joke. Maybe in 1 or 2 professions in our life, that's what happens now. Everywhere else, research says, is like 5-6 years max that you stay in one spot. You need to have the processing skills to change on the fly, to be versatile. So I was thinking, okay, it's my opinion, it's my observation. But research says, specifically animal research says, that mice that were deprived of play, they could not sustain themselves In fact, they died. Why? Because not having the processing skill, they could not find food. And they also were lacking the natural curiosity to take the risk to find the food. In today's world, you have to have the natural curiosity to take the risk in this ever-changing, constantly moving world of ours. But my story with my life saving through play would not be complete if I would not talk to you about the role and the importance of competition. Not the competition that your children are taking part nowadays, when it's overly structured, when it's organized by parents or organized by teachers. It's constantly ran under the supervision of others. In my opinion, there are two major lessons. Yeah, a little bit of skill too, but two major lessons that these children learn in those competitions. One is the overemphasis on winning. And the other is the trophy. I mean, real trophy. Kids get real trophies for participation. You don't get that in life. I'm sorry. On the other hand, if the children are playing on their own, in their self-regulated environment, they figure out winning and losing. And they are okay with it. In fact, they learn that the trophy they get from playing is in the form of learning the new skill, the one that I just showed to them. We show it to each other. Or maybe if they won, they get the bragging rights for at least until the next time. But when they lose, they also learn a tremendously important lesson. That is still some part of their skills, some part of their ability that needs improvement. What's wrong with that? Not only that they learn it, but they also have a much stronger intrinsic motivation and what I call fire in the belly to overcome that. I will never forget, 6 years I was choking every year. Of course, nobody wants to say it's choking, but I was. In the Regional Country Club Championship, I could not win. I could not win no matter what. And my loved ones were really experiencing the pain of my losses. Some of them actually were begging me to stop trying. But I learned in childhood that I don't give up. So what I did was, I was just looking at my opponent's swing. Their swing was beautiful. It was honed. It was rhythmic. It was something they learned in childhood. It was repetitive. It was everything that I knew I'm never going to have. But I was an athlete. And by that point, I played at least 20 different sports, and at least in a mediocre, if not high level. And I had the imagination, the creativity, and the touch 30 yards in that not many has. So what I did was, I strengthened my strengths, and I accepted my weaknesses. And this yay big trophy from 2 years ago is the proof. But you know, when I think of that winning moment, or when I see my picture with that trophy plastered all over in the house, oh no, not really. It's not the trophy that excites me. It's that sense of accomplishment that I never gave up. Never gave up. Wouldn't you want that skill for your children or for your students? I would. But my story would not be complete if I would not talk to you about the third element of the power of the play. And that is how play can bring you into the moment. That was something that I've done in my whole life. As a kid, I was always playing in the moment. But then as I was getting older, and I was so ramped up into my issues with school and work and all this stuff, I lost the moment. Not only that, it also got into my games. It also got into my performance in my sports. It completely poisoned my sports to the point that I was so worried about the consequences of a golf shot or a tennis shot, I was ready to give up competition altogether. The consummate athlete was ready to give up. But then, I went inside. So many of us today have talked about this in this beautiful way. I went inside. I literally had the Clara of 8 to 10 years old sitting right here in my lap. And me, myself, and Clara had a discussion. What changed? What did little Clara do when she was 10 years old that she's not doing now? And we just figured it out. It was make-believe. We stopped playing make-believe. So, I did what every normal adult should do in that situation. In the final day of the competition 2 years ago, I played make-believe. I was Jack Nicklaus in my Focus. I was Phil Mickelson in my short game Magic. And I was Ai Miyazato in my beautiful tempo of a golf swing. You should have heard the conversation the four of us were having through 27 holes. But with that moment, I also learned one more thing. Play is not only for children. And I looked into that a little bit. Do you know that there are a ton of research studies are being done now that companies are bringing back play into the workplace and it having a tremendous, significant, positive effect? Just to name a few. Creates much stronger bonds between not just workers among themselves, but also their superiors and employers. It also decreases sick days, ka-ching. It also increases creativity and productivity, more ka-ching. It's all good for you. So no wonder that at Google, for example, workers are paid to play beach volleyball. Wouldn't you want to be paid to play beach volleyball? I would. Or they have a climbing wall within their main campus, and they can go in the middle of the day and climb the wall. Or at LinkedIn, they are encouraged to play foosball or ping pong whenever they're tired of answering emails. We are all getting tired of answering emails. Wouldn't that be nice to do that? But why is it only a couple of companies do that? So here is what I feel that we need to do. In order for us to change in education, in parenting, in companies, in all the workplaces, we need to play game and play and all that stuff back. In fact, this is what I'm recommending. I'm recommending a balanced life. I'm recommending to combine play with work. You know why? Because, as Dr. Stuart Brown puts it, the opposite of play is not work, it's depression. And if we are to change our society, we need to move away. We have to look at the play, the gameplay, the activities in its complex format. We have to make sure that we are including all of the variety of games and education, in the workplace, in every element of life, in your own life, even if it's not provided for your work, even in your own life. Because if not, then we are going to go from the promise of an innocent, beautiful birth of a talented, happy child to the devastation of depression and suicide. When are we going to stop this craziness? As for me, I'm stopping mine. And if you don't mind, I have to leave you now because I have my senior Olympic goal to achieve. Thank you.